To the Jiggy Jaguar Show on the network.
We're back live here on our big broadcast. We are coast to coast. On the border on iHeartRadio today. And, of course, AM/FM, 247.com. Tune in, iTunes. And, of course, you can find us each and every day over there at JIGGYJAGUAR.com. We have got a great guest coming up here in just a few moments. If you want to get a hold of us online, you can do so over there. And our next guest is joining us. Surviving son, an Afghanistan war veteran, reveals his nightmare of becoming a Gold Star brother. And Scott Deluzio is with us today. Scott, welcome to the broadcast. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
So this book, incredibly well written. Take me through the writing process, my man. Tell me all about it.
Yeah, so the process of writing this book started shortly after I came back from Afghanistan in 2010. I started just by writing down notes, kind of journaling key events and places and things, emotions that I was feeling and things like that. Because I knew that the story that I eventually wrote would be something that my children would be interested in down the line. And so I didn't want to forget any of the details. And then a couple of years ago, I decided, you know what, this story is more than just something that you tell to your children, you know, and yeah. I wanted to put it out there in a book format for the world to read and have people see my story and understand, you know, what it's like to not only be in combat, but to lose a brother while overseas and in combat as well.
We have got a great guest with us today. Scott joins us here on our broadcast. Surviving Son is the latest from this incredible author. It is available on Amazon and most major book retailers. And an Afghanistan war veteran reveals his nightmare of becoming a Gold Star brother. And the author joins us today here on our big program. So this book, you've put a lot of time and effort into this book. What's been some feedback and, in any type of reviews that you've gotten on this book so far?
I've gotten nothing but great feedback so far on the book. You know, the people who've read it, they've range anywhere from Vietnam veterans to civilians and everywhere kind of in between, and they just really appreciated this story and hearing and understanding, you know, what it was like to be over there in Afghanistan and the grief process and everything that we went through after losing my brother.
So this book, you've put a lot of time and effort into this book. What do you want readers to take away from your writing of this great book?
You know, I want them to learn about what veterans are dealing with. This is just one story. This is just my story, but it's a powerful story, and it goes to show that there is a lot for the readers out there to learn about. And I want people to know that, you know, we're more than just, names in a newspaper, or, you know, when you see a casualty report coming through on the newspaper, on the news or television or radio. You know, it's more than just a name. We're real people. We have real backgrounds, real histories, real emotions, and, you know, it's important for us to understand the things that these people are going through, the people who volunteer to protect us here at home. There's a lot that we go through, and I want those people to understand that, you know, it affects real people and real families.
We have got a great guest with us today. He joins us live here on our broadcast. Scott Deluzio is with us. Surviving Son is the latest from him. And he joins us today here on our big program. So one of the things that I've always wondered about the way that we treat our veterans is we can get these guys and girls ready to go. We can send them off to war. They can go and do all these things. But then when it's all over with and they come back, whether it's them coming back or whether it's a situation like with you where you're taking care of a family and having a situation with somebody who didn't come back. Why doesn't the United States government do more to cope with, like with your loss or with other veteran losses, or even the veterans that come back from serving?
I know, when you get into the military, when anyone gets into the military does do a great job at turning you from a civilian
Yes.
into a soldier.
Yes.
And they do that's in their best interest, because
Yes.
they need to have those warriors out there who are willing to defend and protect our country, and so that's something that they want ingrained in our soldiers. And I don't know, really what the reason is why they don't do a better job with the opposite when coming back out of the military. But if you think about it, it's not in their wheelhouse to be dealing with civilians. And I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's
It's just something
their
that
need is definitely for the warriors, and training people out of that doesn't really suit their needs.
We've got a great guest with us today. Surviving Son is the latest from our guest today. Scott joins us here on our big broadcast, coast to coast and border to border on iHeartRadio today, and also AMFM 247.com. Scott owns an e-commerce software development business and is an Army veteran, having served 6 years with the Army National Guard, including a deployment to Afghanistan in 2010. I know a lot of folks, a lot of radio shows, TV shows. They'll interview the Army veterans about going over and serving and coming back and all of these various things. One of the things that I never hear radio people or TV people ask veterans is, what the hell was it like when you got over to some of these places? What living in some of the different places that you've lived in the United States, what was that like to adjust to that hot as balls weather over there in Afghanistan?
Yeah. Well, I say this sitting in Arizona, where it's also hot as balls, and it's, so the weather is probably similar here as it was over there, but it was definitely a culture shock going over there and seeing how people live, the houses that are made out of mud bricks with straw roofs and things like that, and it was just very primitive living compared to what we're used to. And I can tell you that, and I can say it was just a big culture shock, and the way people lived and the way they ate and got their food and all that kind of stuff was just completely different than how we do. There were no grocery stores that you can go to. They had their animals, and that's what they ate is what came from those animals and the farms that they tended and things like that. And it was a culture shock to say the least. But I can tell you that, but until you experience it for yourself, if you're actually there, you're not really going to appreciate how much of a culture shock it is. It really was just, crazy to think that, in the 2010 when I was over there, people were still living this way. And, it was just bizarre.
Just amazing. We have got a great guest with us today. Scott joins us here in our broadcast. He continues to give back through his Drive On podcast, which is available at driveonpodcast.com. It reminds veterans they are not alone in their struggles and provides resources to those searching for help. And Scott joins us today here on the telephone. So this book, what are some of your goals for this book? Because you've put this out there. You've gotten a lot of great feedback, a lot of good, a lot of good feelings here. What are some of your goals for the book?
I want to make it so that other veterans who are out there who have stories to tell, a lot of us, may think that just because maybe we didn't deploy or we didn't see combat or, whatever, that we have no stories to tell. But we all do have a story to tell. It might be about our relationships. It might be about our, what caused us to go out and sign up for the military to begin with. And so we have a lot of stories to tell. And I kind of want to just show the people that are out there that it's okay to tell your story. Get your story out there and have people read it and understand it and know who you are and where it came from. I look back at previous generations who fought for our country, and a lot of their stories weren't untold. Maybe it was the cost of publishing a book or whatever, and if they did tell a story, maybe it was just verbally to family and friends, and so their story died when those people passed away as well. And so those stories are lost to history, and one of the best teachers that we have is our history. And so the more stories that are out there, it just paints a bigger picture and puts more pieces of the puzzle together so that we can understand what things were done well or were done poorly, and we can learn better going forward.
We have got a great guest with us today. He joins us live here in our big broadcast. Well, Scott, good luck with the book. This is a fantastic read, and I appreciate you making time and coming on the broadcast, my friend. Thanks for doing this.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity to share the story.
Definitely. Have yourself a wonderful day. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, you too.
Appreciate it. There he goes. That is Scott Deluzio. We are going to take a timeout. When we come back, we have got more coming up. It is Yoa, world famous Jiggy Jaguar radio broadcast. Back here in a few moments.